Welcome to the Whiskey and Wisdom Podcast. This is our very first episode in the Cargo District Studios in Wilmington, North Carolina. I'm Tyler Yaw, and this is my co-host,
Chris Kellum.
And this week, our very special guest is...
Raelin Morris.
Raelin is a 26-year-old entrepreneur who just moved back to Wilmington, North Carolina from Hawaii. But before we learn more about her, Chris, what are we sipping on today?
So today, Raelin picked out the amazing Eagle Rare. She actually didn't know it was that rare, which is kind of...
Depends on what state you're on, I guess.
Yes, true. Because I've only had this once before. And it's a nice, clean, true Kentucky bourbon. All of them are aged 10 years. It has a gorgeous little eagle on the outside. But it's a nice dark color. It has a lot of spices to it. Mm-hmm. But they were supposedly based on the pursuit of happiness, life, and liberty, just like the nation.
I like it.
I would say let's cheers to that. It's a good one.
Let's cheers. All right. Thank you, Raelin, for coming on today, and especially since it was actually your very first day moving into your apartment, right?
Yes, just moved back today.
That's awesome. So we were looking to get someone for the podcast today since we just had the new studio open up and asked Raelin, and she was super gracious to come in after just setting up the apartment for the day.
Yes. Thanks for having me, you guys. Feels
Absolutely.
Good to be here.
How's it feel being back into Wilmington after a few years away?
It's really funny because not much changes. Like there's a lot more new stuff, but I feel like I still know all the roads like the back of my hand. So it's really cool. It feels good.
Yeah, that's neat. Before we get too far into it, tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, kind of how you got to where you are now.
Okay, so I lived in Wilmington actually before I went to Hawaii. I went to college at UNCW. Whoop. Yeah. And while I was in school here, I actually was a wedding planner. And so I worked really, really, really hard the whole time I was taking classes. And when I graduated, I felt like I had just kind of worked through it all and I was ready to go somewhere. So I bought a one-way ticket to Hawaii and I stayed there for almost 5 years, so turned out pretty well. I actually got a job as an event manager out there in Hawaii, so my hard work definitely paid off. But when COVID hit, kind of like everyone, you know, we all kind of had to do the COVID pivot, is what we like to call it. And yeah, I started taking classes, learning, studying crypto, and now I'm a nerd.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So what made you go down that route into the crypto world from being an event planner?
To be honest, I just Googled ways to make money online.
Yeah.
Nice. And I know. I actually was listening to a lot of books, Robert Kiyosaki specifically, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It's free on Spotify, YouTube, all that. So I kind of got exposed to the way that like money kind of flows around the world. And I got really frustrated. I was like, how do I learn this? This is really cool. But like, I need somebody to teach me this like in baby steps. So yeah, I started taking classes on it and it definitely paid off. I can say that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I tried the crypto thing. Tried is the big word. What do you think? Because you've been doing it for, I'm assuming, more than 6 months. What do you think is the best advice for someone who's questioning, like, why should I get into crypto?
Well, why you should get into crypto is because unlike the US dollar, which they print and print and print and print, there's a really finite supply. So it's kind of supply and demand. And when it's gone, it's gone. And right now, big banks, big companies, stuff like that, they're kind of on waiting lists to dump all their money in. So they're only allowed to buy like a certain amount at a time right now. So what's cool is we still have time to go in and kind of buy up our part before, you know, JP Morgan comes in and just wipes the whole thing clean.
I love that. Getting in at the ground level.
Yeah, totally.
I think most people know now that I'm in the finance world, but I feel like everyone who is in finance, and especially when it comes to, it's never just a straight climb up. There's always peaks and valleys and everything. So tell us a little bit about your journey and how you got started and really just how the mindset is when you do hit those valleys.
Yeah, totally. So what I found, like, I'm really glad I listened to that book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad first, because I realized that the whole way that we spend and use our money, like, needed to change for me before I could actually make this like a job or something that I could do, because pretty much I'd never bought any assets before. Everything that I bought, I just kept spending my money. There was nothing like making me money. So I really had to just change kind of my whole perspective on that and how I used the money that I did have. And so what's cool is I honestly just put in like a few dollars or whatever, and I went to sleep and I woke up and it grew. And I was like, oh, this is like a little piggy bank that's your friend, and it kind of helps you out a little bit. But then, like everyone else, it went down. And I was like, oh no, what's happening? What's happening? So I think the key for me was like investing in education and having like mentorship and teachers kind of telling me before what was going to happen. So one of my mentors, he says, pretty much the whole market moves on emotion. So there's like an emotional wave. And once you learn where you're at in the wave, it makes it a lot easier to invest and to trade and have your money really working. But you have to know right before things are going to go down or up. So you're not like emotionally invested in it, you know? Because in the beginning, I couldn't sleep. I would just wake up and check Bitcoin and be like, what's it doing? Like, oh no, it's almost at $20,000. I was like freaking out. And now it's like 50 something. So it's kind of crazy. But I think honestly, just having the teachers tell me what they're doing made me feel a lot more reassured because they have higher stakes in the game, you know? Right. So if I'm just following them, at least if I take an L, I know they will, and we'll learn a lesson from it. So that's been really nice.
Good point.
Yeah.
I know you talk about your mentors, and when we spoke previously, you talk very highly of them. Tell us more about how important that mentorship is to you.
Ooh, okay. Very, because there's only 2 shortcuts to success: mentorship and education. And that could be experience, but when it's your money, it's kind of scary to just be trying different things. Like there's so many different coins out there. There's so many different things you can invest in. What I really like about the education is, you know, they're going to tell you what projects are good, and they're doing like hundreds of hours of research and kind of condensing it to 1 hour a day. So that's really, really, really helpful. Like, I just feel that I have people like looking out for the right projects, and like they're looking at who's investors in these projects and what the utility of it is and stuff like that. So that's really cool. But I'm really into the gaming cryptos, which is funny because I'm not a gamer.
Yeah.
I'm not a gamer, but wow, these worlds are kind of crazy. Like the land in the worlds are worth like $20,000, and it's not even real land. Right. It's so crazy. So yeah, it's just such a big, big, big world that it's nice to have teachers to tell you, like, to kind of cut out all the BS and save you a lot of time. Just be like, okay, this is what I'm looking at, you know, take it or leave it. But that's been really helpful for me.
Yeah. So I'm more of the traditional finance route just because I'm a financial advisor and whatnot. I have quite a few clients that come to me and ask about some of these digital assets. And one of the stories that they came to me with is that there was a digital yacht that sold for a few $100,000 that someone purchased. I think it was actually a prince in the Middle East that bought it. But tell me about the best way to explain how these digital assets are worth something in real life to some of these clients.
Okay, yeah. So this is real interesting. So actually in that book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, he talks about assets and liabilities. So asset is anything that we buy that, or, you know, spend money on that makes us money back. And so there's 2 types of assets: fungible and non-fungible. So fungible is like cash or dollars or crypto, anything that you can change one for another. Right. You can just like swap one for another. Non-fungible is like houses or art. They're still assets, but you can't trade them. You can't trade a house for a picture, you know? So first you trade it to $1 and then you can switch it. Usually. So what's crazy is non-fungible tokens these are just non-fungible assets. So what's really weird, like you said, the yacht or like a photo of a monkey or ape or whatever selling for hundreds of thousands of dollars online doesn't really make sense to the average person. But to the investor mindset, it does, because it's an asset. And so you're paying for it with crypto. So you may pay 1 Ethereum for a monkey. And what happens is this monkey gives you access to like different groups of people, different networks, different events. And so what's really crazy is it's kind of like Gucci or something, or Prada, like name brand. You're paying for the access to these people. And what's crazy is it can't be like duplicated. It can't be, you can't really fake it. So somebody could buy a knockoff of a Gucci bag or something, whatever, and maybe you wouldn't know. But with the NFT, it's linked to the owner's address, to the wallet address. So you can't be like, oh, I'm in the Bored Ape Yacht Club. You know, I dropped a few million on a photo. Yeah, these days, and because it's all tracked, it's all linked to each other. So what's crazy is once you buy this photo or whatever token or yacht, you have access. So what's crazy is that person could have like a yacht party, and anybody with this NFT is allowed on it. So my friend Tasha, she's really into this NFT project called the Coalition Crew, and she actually was the first female in there.
Wow.
Yeah, so crazy. And so now she's an administrator, and they plan like trips to Mexico and all these places. And it's cool because it's all networks of people with like very similar mindsets, very similar goals, ambitions, but all different walks of life. So they get to like meet up and collaborate. So it's really like accessibility, but it's cool because the value just goes up in price because crypto is going up in price.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. And there's very limited. So like, you know, crypto's limited, but then the NFTs, there's only going to be like 500. So when they're gone. And then the value is like a lot more.
I get it now. Makes sense. When are you going to buy yourself a digital ape there, Chris?
See, I was never into the Bored Apes. I was like, I'll be okay. I did see, because besides just like photos and whatnot, they do like landscapes. Yeah. Because I feel like Snoop Dogg bought like 20-some acres online. It's nothing you can actually see, but he has it on the digital interface. So eventually, I'm assuming when everything moves to digital, you put your MetaMask goggle things on. You can kind of go there. Yeah. I'm assuming if you have the NFT to get access to it, you can come in and hang out.
Yep, totally. And what's crazy is they can rent out the land too. So like Nike has a store, Adidas has a store, Puma has a store, and they all rent it from whoever owns the land. So it's crazy because everything that was physical is going digital, and it is a little scary. However, I'm following the money. Right. I'm following the money. Yeah.
It was kind of an interesting concept where, especially after COVID hitting, how just everything has kind of migrated to this digital type of world on here. And when you have one of the largest companies, Facebook, rebrand their name to Meta, there's obviously something there. There's obviously a bunch of money being dumped. And when you see Walmart investing, when you see Nike and Adidas, it kind of shows that there's something there. But from my client's aspect, who are like 80 years old, who like they don't even have an email yet, it's interesting for them to kind of watch this transition too. And they're like, what is going on here? Like, this is interesting. I don't know what's happening. Like, what's this Meta thing?
Yeah, it's so crazy. I just went on vacation with my grandparents last weekend, which was really cute. But they asked me so many questions. They were so confused. It's really cool, though. It's crazy because they were mind blown. They're like, they keep their money. I'm not going to say which bank, but they keep their money in a bank, like most people. And they were like, yeah, well, at least you can earn like 0.025% interest. I'm like, girlfriend, I earn like 25% interest just sitting there. And she's like, what? I'm like, yeah, it can sit there in US dollar and gain value, but it's because they're decentralized banks, you know?
Right.
So it's just so crazy how much information is out there that you really have to know, though, because it's not safe. Yeah. I'm not going to say it's safe. It's not safe. Your money online is not safe anywhere, really. But especially not in like decentralized wallets and stuff like that, or like Coinbase, stuff like that. Like they can just close the app or be like, oh, sorry, you're locked. Good luck.
Which has happened a few times with Coinbase recently.
Yeah, totally. With a lot of different exchanges. So that's where the education was really helpful too. They taught you like where to keep your money and how to not just have it online to be hacked, you know? Yeah, kind of scary.
So I'm assuming crypto is not your only money-making scheme, because I know Rich Dad, Poor Dad definitely talks about investing and putting money and not just sitting in one spot and expecting to make all your money. So what's your other hustles?
Okay, so I love to work, to be honest. My parents owned a lot of restaurants growing up, so I feel like in restaurants, I feel like I'm at my second home. One, you get free dinner.
Good point.
Yeah, free dinner, and you get to just like serve other people, make them happy, get to meet people. So I don't currently work in a restaurant right now, but I really love the hustle, and I could see myself possibly doing that again because I like the cash, and then I like to throw it in the markets. And I've been working real estate here in Wilmington as well, so that was like a huge reason I came back, was just kind of learn more. It's a crazy world. There's a lot to learn. Yeah. I didn't even know what an escrow was.
I just bought a house and I still don't actually know what my escrow is.
Yeah. Yeah, don't quiz me.
No, when I first bought my house, they were like, oh yeah, put your money here in escrow. And I was like, first of all, you're gonna have to tell me what that is. And it was like, oh, okay, so we just pay your insurance and your taxes and whatever else, like monthly or yearly even, that comes up bill-wise into this. Sometimes they'll do an HOA, not usually. But I was like, wait, you'll pay all this stuff for me? And I don't have to pay anything extra? I'm like, yeah, sure, take an extra few $100 you want a month. If I don't have to worry about it, take it.
Yeah, definitely.
So were you doing the real estate thing while you're in Hawaii, or did you get started in that when you came here?
Yeah, I did do that in Hawaii. I started learning about it in November. There's a guy named Pace Morby on YouTube. Mm-hmm. He's really great. He teaches about seller finance and stuff, but I honestly am super lucky because I know I'm a hard worker. So I was calling some people and kind of trying to figure out what else to do. Cause like you said, multiple streams of income is like necessary. You got to diversify. So lucky enough, I called a close friend and he was like, don't go get your license. Just work for me. I'm like, okay, okay, that sounds great. So in November, I started working for them, and there's a 6-hour time difference, so it was not glamorous, that's for sure. But now it's a lot easier,
So you're probably up at like 2 o'clock in the morning, like making phone calls and receiving phone calls and all that stuff.
Yeah, it kind of got too hard because people were calling me at like 3 a.m. and I definitely was not answering.
They're like, we just woke up and we're ready to go. I just went to sleep. Leave me alone.
Yeah. I couldn't let that happen anymore. So it's a lot easier here. But it's a cool skill set to learn. And it's really crazy just understanding kind of how all the land in North Carolina works and how it's surveyed and stuff like that. And I don't know, it's a really cool, interesting path. And it's definitely a skill set that will pay the bills.
Yeah. So if you don't have your real estate license, so I would assume you're probably doing wholesaling then.
Yeah. I'm just like a sales manager. So
okay.
I do a lot of like calls. I call a lot of people.
I'm sure, yeah.
Which is good. I like talking to people. So it's like right up my alley. I guess if I'm not in a restaurant like talking to people all day, this is like a nice way to just pick up the phone. And what's cool is like since I'm already doing crypto at my house, I don't really have to go anywhere. I can kind of just do it in between like trading sessions and stuff like that. So it's really easy.
Oh yeah. That flexibility is always nice too.
Oh yeah. I think that's like something a lot of people really liked during COVID was like the work from home aspect and yeah, just kind of like having more control over your schedule and your day and your time and stuff like that. Cause as a wedding planner, I had no control over my schedule or time. Yeah. Like, none.
I was in that industry as well too. When I was a DJ, I did a lot of wedding DJs and whatnot, and nothing that you do is your time.
No.
So unless you show up like an hour early just for your own self, that's the only like time that you actually have.
Yeah, totally. And like, it's so funny because brides. No offense to anybody if you're engaged, but they think like they're the only ones getting married, right? Like they're the only ones planning a wedding, but you've got like 200 going on. So all of them are calling about their problems like all day, even if their wedding's like 18 months away. They're like, oh no, I got the wrong color napkin. You're like, oh gosh.
So, because I love girl movies, what is the craziest wedding that you had to deal with? Because like, I love my big fat Greek wedding, and I feel like they were some crazy people. So what did you have?
Man, I've had some really crazy stuff. I watched some people pee in a closet.
Oh,
yeah.
no.
I watched like grandma trying to smoke inside, really like really weird things like that. But honestly, the worst, one of my last weddings I ever worked in Hawaii, there was a noise ordinance at 10 o'clock. And so the DJ, he blames it on me. He's like, the girl made me stop. So this is the last song. And the bride took the microphone and was like, this girl ruined my effing wedding. Get her. And it's like all these Armenian people. And they're just screaming at me, like cussing me up and down. Like, ooh, it was so bad. Like so bad. I was like, security, help me.
No, the mayor made this ordinance. Go after the mayor right down the road.
Yeah, definitely. It's hard to cut the music at the end of the night. They never, ever like it. So props to the DJ over here. Because, that gets kind of crazy. But one time, one of my weddings was like a Magic Mike show. All the guys took their shirts off and had their ties on. This is at the Brooklyn Arts Center.
No way.
Oh, it was so crazy.
Were they at least like in shape?
Yeah, they're in the military, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It wasn't like Kevin James doing a Magic Mike show.
No, it was good.
Not complaining too much on that side, were you?
No, I mean, weddings are so fun. I think they're so cool because it's the one time that like everyone the girl knows and everyone the guy knows, everyone they love is in the same place at the same time. That doesn't really happen again, like ever. So it's a cool like mix of families and stuff. But it gets crazy, a lot of personality in one room.
Yes.
One of my favorite parts from DJing for weddings, one time more so than others, there was a Greek family and an Italian family that were getting married. So they just know how to throw parties on both sides anyway. But the food was fantastic. They all made homemade food and brought it there. There was no catering other than what they made and brought there. And each family member was known for an individual plate that they brought. And they're like, we brought way too much food like we always do. And had me and my other business partner like, take as much as you want, take some home for your families. Aww. And it was so nice. And the food was the best food I've ever had. It was incredible.
That sounds so good. That's the best part about a wedding, free food.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I feel like free anything.
Yeah.
Good point.
Almost anything.
I know. It all comes out of cost, some type of cost.
Right, yeah. The work leading up to it definitely made up for it. So tell us what the biggest differences are from Hawaii moving back to Wilmington, and maybe even more specifically going from Wilmington to Hawaii back to Wilmington.
Okay. Well, I will say $100 at the grocery store is the biggest difference. Oh my gosh. You can go from like 4 items to like 40 here at Publix. I'm like, wow, this is crazy. But I would say my transition from Wilmington to Hawaii, I moved to Oahu to the North Shore, and I actually grew up in the Outer Banks. So it was pretty similar. I felt like just on an island in the middle of nowhere with like no access to real things, I guess. But what's super cool is since most people don't really have their family there, everybody becomes family. So like holidays were really cool because there'd be like 20 of us together without our families there. And we would just like, make big meals, and it was really special. So that was really cool. And the weather, oh my gosh, the weather's so bipolar here. The weather there is just 77 every single day. It's just so perfect. Yeah, it's literally a dream. So that's really nice. My transition there was not too rough, to be honest. Everything kind of like worked out, I feel, how it was supposed to. And I had a really good time. I met a lot of really cool people, and I grew a lot as a person because I didn't have like the influences that I had here that had kind of like known me forever and stuff like that. I kind of got to grow more into myself and like who I wanted to be and stuff like that. So it was really, really amazing. But big reasons I wanted to leave is the government's kind of crazy over there. Everything is very, very, very overpriced. Like, I really feel for the people that are from Hawaii. Like, I really feel for them. It's kind of like everywhere. Like, it's just really hard to find housing and stuff. And
right.
like, inflation's crazy. So what's crazier is that in Hawaii, they just don't have like access to information. So they don't see that that's a problem everywhere. They don't see that like, I guess like here you can drive to other states and you see like things are open. People don't have their masks on. People are like, enjoying normal life, where there everything's so disconnected. People are only listen to like what they're told. And so people are really living in fear. Kind of sad and really just confused. Like, they don't really understand what's happening right now, which is, it's just like a lack of information. So it kind of really pulled me back here. I just wanted to have access, be able to go out to eat whenever I want, be able to, spend $5 on bread, not $15. So like Hawaii's beautiful and it will always have a special place in my heart, but it's really nice to be back in Wilmington. I will say that, like, really nice. We got our good whiskey over here. Right. You would not be finding this Eagle Rare over there. It's very rare, right?
Yes. Well, I feel like it's rare outside of Kentucky. But that's
a good point.
Most whiskeys in general.
We'll bring another one of my friends on soon, though, who's actually in the bar business. But he was talking that it's mostly North Carolina that's having some liquor issues.
Wow. We drink too much.
Yeah, exactly.
I was like,
as
is it because we drink too much or just because of the technicalities of it all?
Legalities of North Carolina.
Something that's really cool in Hawaii, though, is like all the drinks and the food and stuff, like everything's so locally sourced. Like, that is really, really cool. Like, I worked at a sushi bar there and we would make like butterfly pea flower drinks. I don't know, and like, I don't know, all kinds of stuff, like all these mermaid lemonades.
Pea
and like
flower?
Yeah, so butterfly pea, it's this blue flower. And when you mix it with lemonade, or you like boil it and make kind of like a watery tea. Mm-hmm. When you mix it with lemonade, it makes it purple. So it makes like all these colorful, like yummy drinks. Yeah, a lot of hibiscus and lilikoi, which is passion fruit. They use a lot of fresh fruit in like everything. So it's really yummy. That's something I want to bring back here.
When you would find stuff there that was naturally sourced there, was that much cheaper? Or was just everything more expensive there?
It depends. Like, you could go to a farmer's market and like get some affordable bananas and stuff like that. But what's crazy is like Dole owns all the pineapples and the bananas. They all grow out there, right? So it's right off the road, the pineapple farm. So you can see all of them. They grow on the ground, by the way. So it's really crazy. You just see all these fields of pineapple heads everywhere. So you would think that it would be like almost free because there are so many and it's all right there. But no, everything's still like very expensive.
Wow, I didn't know that.
I know. It's crazy. You have to shop at Costco. Like, that's the only way to really survive there is Costco. Yeah. Thank God for Costco.
So you mentioned sushi.
Yum.
Close to my heart. I love me some sushi. 2 questions. 1, sushi or sashimi?
I like sushi. I like the rice.
Okay.
My favorite roll would probably be like some spicy salmon with cucumber and avocado and mango. Sounds good.
Spicy what?
Salmon.
I actually just had that Thursday last week.
Ooh, where?
Yeah. So you're going to make fun of me, but believe it or not, Harris Teeter.
Oh, gosh.
And it's so cheap, too, comparatively speaking. And they actually make great rolls over there.
I'm going to have to check it out.
Yeah, it probably won't hold up to the Hawaii like sushi over there, but it's not bad, especially for the price.
To be honest, I used to fish a lot over there. My ex-boyfriend, he's a fisherman. That's his job. So we would go fishing all the time. And when I would be catching these big fish bigger than me, I would just think about the sushi the whole time I was reeling it in. I would be like, oh, I want this sushi. Oh, it was great. Yeah. I love sushi. I love fish. It's so good.
So were you making sushi right off of the fish that you were bringing in and stuff too?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Like all the time. We made poke bowls and like sushi.
Oh, nice.
Pretty much every other day. That's like how I got through COVID. I was just catch my own fish.
That makes it nice.
Yeah, it's super nice.
I would say it's cheaper, but gas is still expensive.
Yeah, that's true. What's crazy is over here, it's like go fishing, you have to go offshore. So you have to go like 60 miles out. Over there, it's like 5,000 feet deep right out of the water. So you don't have to go far. So the gas bills are more here than there because you can just kind of go right offshore there. But here you have to go an hour or 2 hours, just to go start fishing.
And that's because it's an island.
Yeah.
A volcanic island.
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess that's a good point. There's only
that's why they have great
floor where
waves.
it's at.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. There's really good waves. It's fun. It's like it's definitely like a big playground. It's cool, which is great, but I feel like I'm ready to come back to reality a little bit for now, but it's definitely a big playground.
So to go back a little bit more to what you had mentioned earlier, but to dig a little bit deeper in it, you said when you were out there, it was more of a time to kind of find yourself. Mm-hmm. So elaborate a little bit more on that. What were some of the lessons learned and kind of the biggest takebacks? So
what's really crazy is people are not traditional in Hawaii. So the craziest thing for me was when I moved there, I saw people in their 20s making $20,000 a month plus. And I was like, whoa, wow. Like early 20s. I'm like, wow. And they would just travel all over, go to Bali and like Japan. Like people travel a lot from Hawaii. So I would say Wilmington, everybody's kind of like a tree. Mm-hmm. And it's great because we're like oak trees, really pretty and solid. But in Hawaii, people are like butterflies. They are going all over the place and they just think really differently. So it's just so crazy. I mean, there's like lots of different ways people make money online, like all different kinds of things. I mean, people out here selling water machines. So right. I don't know. It was really cool. It was just nice to be exposed to people living a lot differently. And when I first decided to move to Hawaii, a lot of people were like, no, don't go, or like, you can't do that and all this kind of stuff. And a big thing I learned there was like, you would never ask somebody maybe from Ohio to teach you how to surf because they don't know. They're not well versed in the ocean. So I realized there that you want to ask people with the results that you want. Like you want to ask them for advice and then where to go. People with the direction and the results that you want, and not just like everyone. So I don't know. I think I learned a lot of discernment, and I kind of just learned who to listen to and kind of what I wanted. Yeah, like I said, the people there just living so differently. So I got to be exposed to a lot of different ways of life. But ultimately, it made me kind of want to come back home and be like rooted in like traditional values and stuff like that. I feel like a lot of people there have no rules. They're just like free as it gets. So I kind of like the respect here.
Right, yeah. So I guess there is kind of a happy medium.
Yeah, definitely.
That's kind of what I was kind of coming into as well. So I'm originally from Pennsylvania. And the area that I grew up, a lot of my friends ended up moving away from PA to go to college and start careers and whatnot. And that's kind of how I ended up down here. And when I came down here, I kind of got away from that kind of rootedness that you were talking about, experienced something a little bit different. I traveled a lot as well. And when it came down to, it's like, okay, that was fun. I enjoyed kind of going out and experience, and then just deciding, you know what, I've seen enough places where I feel like I can make Wilmington my home. Kind of just taking that step to find that further career to kind of get myself rooted here, I think was a big step for me, because it was something I never thought I would do.
Totally.
I had always moved every 4 years prior to that in different aspects, one way or another. And so I was like, I'm just going to continuously do this. And then there's definitely something to be said to being rooted as well, especially after you experienced all that.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's nice to be able to like pack everything you own and go wherever you want. That's really cool. I would say like it's so crazy because I moved from here to Hawaii, but then my parents sold our house that we grew up in. So like I had everything, you know, for my life there. And when COVID hit, I moved from one island to another. So I could only take, you know, like my 2 checked bags and my 2 carry-ons, and that was it. And then I lived on the other island for 2 years, accumulated whatever I did, and then decided to leave again. So I just moved all the way back with all my stuff. But it's crazy because I could only have 4 bags. It's like you can take what you can take and that's it. So I think it really taught me how to like downsize, not really be attached to material things and stuff like that. But yeah, it is so nice to be like rooted somewhere, have a routine, be like into things. I don't know. It's just so nice to have access to just everything. Like everything's closed at 7 p.m. in Hawaii.
Oh, wow.
So like if you're hungry after 7, you are just SOL. Yeah. So yeah, here it's like it could be 2 a.m. and you can still get French fries somewhere.
Oh yeah, Slice of Life Pizza downtown.
Yeah.
Love that place.
Yeah, I have to go there. It's been a minute.
See, I go back and forth because I work in retail. So closing at 7 means my day's done. There's still some light outside. I'm good to go. But then you also have to realize that other people close at 7.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I've come to the terms with that. I'm like, okay, everybody else is on the same. We close at 7. And then I realize that there's people who don't work in retail who don't understand that concept.
Nope.
So I have people yanking on my door at like 7:45. I'm like, we've been closed for like 45 minutes. And like, I feel like common sense is not common. Like people show up and they're yanking on the door and I'm like, there's gates in front of this door that go opposite direction of the door. How do you not see these things?
No, common sense is not so common. It's funny because I think when people are on vacation too, they don't pack their brain. That's the one thing they forget. And I feel like Wilmington's still like a very destination spot too. So yeah, maybe people just don't pack their brain here either.
So you saw that in Hawaii.
Oh yeah, definitely. Especially with the weddings and stuff. But what's really crazy is the weddings here are so detailed and people put a lot of emphasis on things, in my opinion, that don't matter too much. But it's very like detail oriented and they buy a lot of decor and stuff like that. Where in Hawaii, it's plain. Like people are not getting on planes with their wedding decor, you know? So it's very, the things that they spend money on are completely different, which is really crazy. Like, yeah, it's a really weird concept that I wouldn't have thought of, but you can't be buying like 200 candles to get shipped to Hawaii and then what are you going to do with them? So it's so interesting. Yeah, they're usually pretty plain. So they don't pack their brains, they don't pack their candles. Traveling light.
So when you did the event planning out there, was it mostly destination weddings that you were doing then?
Pretty much like exclusively. So over there I worked for the resort. It was crazy though because I was going to like 3 weddings a day.
Wow.
Like, yeah, I mean, no joke, people go to Hawaii to get married. Like it was really crazy. But it definitely like exposed me to a lot of different types of people and like things that they care about and stuff. And it was just so interesting. Yeah, so interesting. But it's crazy because here it's definitely like Southern weddings, kind of like big and cultured. And over there, it's usually about like 50 to 100 people because they're like traveling from all over and nobody really brings, stuff. So it was definitely cool to see that. But I don't know. It's kind of crazy going to multiple weddings in one day. It felt kind of ingenuine because I wouldn't even, how am I supposed to remember all these people's names? Yeah. So I don't know.
I think we get that too, to a certain extent. We were both in the jewelry industry where you were selling multiple engagement rings a day. Mm-hmm. So, and it's just something you always have to be cognizant about, that this is this one moment for this one person. Mm-hmm. And it's not just the 5th or 6th person coming through buying an engagement ring for you that day. So I know that was something that I always had to remind myself too, is like this moment is special for this human.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, you kind of have to remind yourself because it gets so repetitive and it gets so repetitive that you don't stop to think like, oh, this is their big day. They're they've been waiting for so long. So when there's 3 going on at once, you're like, oh, this is your big day and your big day and your big day.
I guess that's really something kind of more broad for people to think of too, right? Because everyone's thinking about what they're doing that day and how to get on past it, and not really thinking how everyone else's day is going or what's going on in their life. So I guess it's kind of like a small way to look at the bigger picture.
Totally. Whenever I'm having like a down day or something, that's what I think about. I'm like, oh my gosh, somebody's having a baby right now. Somebody's getting married right now. Somebody's engaged. It's somebody's birthday. Like, I don't know, all kinds of stuff like that. Because, yeah, there's good happening in people's lives everywhere. And if you think about that, like, oh yeah, definitely there's probably like 5,000 weddings today right now. So somebody's having the best day of their life somewhere. So there's always something to celebrate, I guess.
Yeah. When you were doing the wedding planning out there, did you notice it was more just a United States type of thing doing destination weddings there, or you have people coming from all over the world?
All over. It's kind of like a melting pot, which is really cool. I think that was something I really liked, is you get exposed to like so many different cultures and different ways of life, and like people just have all different kinds of backgrounds. So it's much, much more of a melting pot. A lot of Australians there. A lot of people from Bali, Australia, Bali, Europe, Japan. A lot of people from Japan. A lot.
Yeah, I never expected that.
I know, everyone goes to Japan. It's really close, I guess. That's why. But everybody goes there to go like snowboarding and stuff.
Oh yeah, because they got the mountains.
Good point. Yeah.
I never went, but a lot of my friends did. I don't know. I don't speak Japanese. I guess I love the sushi though. So hey, maybe.
I always laugh because I realize how far away Hawaii is.
Oh my gosh, 5,000 miles.
People are like, oh, we'll just go to Hawaii. What? But it's a good jump off point. Like if you're in Hawaii, and I understand why those people in that age, like the younger people or middle age, guess they're not middle aged anyways, but they're all traveling because you're in Hawaii, you get 6 hours one way, 7 hours another, you're in another place.
Yeah, totally. I know. It's like, I'm pretty sure it's only like 7 hours to Australia. Totally could be wrong.
Oh, wow.
But
I could see that.
Yeah, it's crazy. But you're right. It's like, 6 hours to go to California, or like 6 hours to go to Japan. So you can kind of go everywhere. But it is such a melting pot of people in their 20s and 30s, just kind of like traveling around and exploring life, I guess. Yeah. It's cool.
Yeah, because I know 6 hours here puts me in Asheville.
Exactly.
You're like Asheville, Savannah, DC.
Yeah, I actually flew with all my stuff to Florida for a crypto convention and drove from Florida back to North Carolina with all my stuff, like 13 hours.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was rough, but I didn't want to have to like check all my bags again and deal with that. So I just got a car there and drove it. And it wasn't bad. I did it in like one day. So
oh, wow. Okay. Not much kind of stopping and sightseeing with that kind of thing.
No, I was planning on it, but then I went on vacation with my grandparents instead. So I just made the drive.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was nice.
So you brought up crypto again. I like crypto. So
me too.
What have you invested in that like nobody else is talking about?
Okay, so I'll give you 3 of my favorite ones, but one of them right now is called 1 inch. 1 inch, that you probably haven't heard of. People aren't talking about that one. So This is a really cool coin, and it's used with gaming cryptos as well. It's like $1.60 right now, maybe $1.50 right now. But it was almost $7 in November. So go get your bag. Because even if it goes to $4, like that's just so great. So 1 inch is a good one. Gala is my favorite coin. I buy multiple times a week. Gala is also a gaming coin. And so Gala Games, they partnered with Townstar and The Walking Dead and few other like really big companies, so we shall see, but they make games. So when you put your little VR on, you're in the metaverse and stuff like that. I don't have a headset, so I don't really know. But Gala is a good one. That one also is like 25 cents right now. So I mean, that's kind of like a coin used in the metaverse. So the other coins, the only other 2 are around $5 to $7, Sand and Mana. So this one, Gala, should go kind of in that area too. So that was 25 cents. it's great. I buy it like every other day. And then the last one is Solana. So Solana, it has its own gaming network as well. And what's crazy about Solana is you use that coin to buy NFTs.
I've heard of this one.
Yeah, Solana is great. Solana is like in the 80s, and it was like $200 and something in November as well. So it's definitely like the next Ethereum kind of coin. Like it has its whole own networking system. So what's crazy about crypto is like Ethereum especially, is it has its own like network online. So people are building websites and stuff off of it. Mm-hmm. And it's decentralized, meaning like the people who buy the networking and stuff like this, like they own the website instead of like www owning it or like paying somebody else. You get to be the owner. So decentralized like money too, you get to be the bank instead of somebody else is the bank.
Nice.
Yeah.
What got you interested into the gaming side of crypto?
Watching my money go up.
Kind of seeing where the most success was and getting excited by that, I guess. Yeah,
like right before Facebook came out with the Meta thing, I had put a good amount of money into the two metaverses. Like the two metaverse is honestly just like a term for the gaming worlds, like overall, just like kind of like, yeah, the gaming world. So it's really interesting because you open up your Instagram and it says, welcome to Meta now. So everyone's like, I don't want to be in the metaverse, but it's like, you already are. Right. You're already in it.
Welcome.
You've already been locked in. So yeah, I like started, one of my mentors had been talking about them for a while. And so what's crazy is they even like go on and they show you kind of like what the worlds look like. And like, I mean, you can make accounts and stuff, but I don't spend too much time doing that. I just watch the other people's. They have like casinos and stuff in them. And like, it's really, really crazy. So you can go into these casinos and they have like, there was like a surf premiere. I'm like obviously super into surfing because I lived in Hawaii. So some of the people that are like pretty into the surf world too, they've been like very into the crypto world. So it's kind of cool to see all these worlds kind of collide. And they had like a surf premiere inside the metaverse, like in the gambling place. So it's a casino. And so, yeah, it's just so weird. But every time people, my educators are telling me about different projects, I mean, it's so crazy to watch these things go from like being worth 50 cents to $5. You're just like, even if you put in $100, it's like, wow, that's my rent. Yes. So yeah, honestly, like, I can't say that I spend too much time like in the metaverse and stuff like that, but I definitely follow the money. I definitely spend my time like watching where to put it and stuff like that. So it's cool. And I mean, if you know like who's invested in the projects too, like The Walking Dead, as soon as you see that, you're like, okay, like this isn't going anywhere, because it would take a lot for them to put their name on something like that. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
Other than watching your money go up in crypto, what's something else that excites you about the industry?
What's really crazy is, so I started studying this stuff like September 2020. And honestly, like I didn't really get it at first. I didn't really know what I was doing or anything. And I kind of I'm really into conspiracy theories. So I was like, that's kind of when I got into it. I'm like, oh, there's going to be a war on money. So that's how I got into it. And what's crazy is just watching it all play out. Like, it's just so wild. I've been watching it get adopted. I watch it go through these emotional waves that they talk about. And it's really, really cool because I figured out like really weird number system to like track everything, and it works. And so, I mean, I've just been studying it for so long. So after, 30 days or 60 days of like trying different things, it's so cool to like watch it play out in real life and know, and like just kind of get the confirmation that you're understanding it right, you're doing it right, especially when most of the world is like, really lost and confused. Yeah, it feels good to be kind of on the right side of things. And what they always say is buy the rumor, sell the news. Yeah.
That's a big one in finance. Yeah. As soon as you start trying to do something on the news, you're way too late to the game.
Yeah, exactly. So like the fact that the news is like, bad crypto, it's like, yes, yes, that's great.
We're starting to come up to our time right now, but before I get into my last real question, just something fun that I noticed is Chris is wearing a t-shirt. My sleeves are rolled up. You have a jacket on. Is that because you're in Hawaii for 5 years?
Oh yeah, I'm definitely not acclimated. You guys, last night I got in and I had on a turtleneck at the bar because I was like, it's so cold.
It's 70 degrees outside for everyone that's listening right now. So
yeah, I saw girls in bikinis and I was like in my turtleneck. I was like, we are not the same.
No.
Yeah, I'm not acclimated. No, it's cold.
So before you ask a serious question, I have a funny one.
Okay.
Can you say the name of Hawaii's fish?
Oh yeah, humu humu nuku nuku apua.
how did you even know that?
I watched a lot of Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Oh yeah, that's the resort I worked at.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. And they redid it now, so it's like so nice and bougie. Like, oh my God. It's so nice now. But that's where I worked, yeah, the resort.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
Yeah, I know. It's really cute.
All right. So the last final question that I have before we start signing off here is, if you were to tell your younger self anything, what would it be?
Buy Bitcoin.
I think that's
No
the most
doubt.
real answer.
Right.
Yeah,
Very
no
true.
hesitation. Like I know for sure. That's the advice.
It's actually really funny you said that. My mother-in-law said that she went to a birthday party and she went around the table and asked everyone what they would tell their younger self if they had the chance. And one of the guys was like, the winning lottery numbers when it was like 1.2 billion.
That's
like,
smart.
Good point.
Yeah, that's a good one.
But if you knew that number, you would have had to split it with somebody. So you wouldn't have gotten the 1.2 billion. Your smart thing would be her buying Bitcoin 6.5 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of my mentors, he was the first person to ever buy a house with Bitcoin.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, in Miami. Ivan Paychecks.
I feel like Brittany had somebody who did that.
It's crazy.
It's good. It's becoming more and more popular now.
That's the thing too, is like the little photos and stuff, the NFTs, like they're not just photos, they do like smart contracts and stuff. So I could definitely see like all of our leases and like things like that being NFTs in the future, because it's just all online, it's all digital and it can't be changed or tracked or like hacked or anything. So yeah, that's something like huge that they talk about a lot is like all the paperwork being NFTs.
That's what I'm excited about, is having the smart contracts come to kind of more the mainstream. Because if we can do anything to make paperwork and all of the stuff that you had to sign easier for the house last week.
Yeah.
I know they've done that before. Like a couple of weeks ago, I saw someone who's like, yeah, they bought their house in Florida. Well, it's Florida.
Yeah, that's where the Bitcoin house that I know too, Florida.
All right. Well, we'll wrap it up here for today. I'm sure we'll bring you back on here soon.
Yay.
And everyone listening, thank you so much for listening in today. Every download helps. Please let your friends and family know if you enjoyed it. I know everyone's asking about Bitcoin and crypto right now, so this is a great kind of way to kind of get your feet wet, to kind of hear about it and kind of how it all works. And before we completely sign off, what's a good way for everyone to reach you so they can ask you about all of the Bitcoin and crypto questions?
Yay. Okay. My Instagram is RAELIN, my first name, and then MORRIS, my last name, Raelin Morris. There's only one. All the rest are fake. Don't follow them. They're going to try and take your Bitcoin. Don't give it to them. Don't give it to them. Don't give anyone your money. That's the biggest thing. Don't give it to them.
That's big on Instagram right now because you signed up for a giveaway and one of the giveaway hosts got hacked and they were trying to steal people's money.
Yeah.
So watch out online.
Yeah. Call your friends. If they hack your friends and somebody's asking for money, just call them. Just call them.
I just bought a house. I ain't got no money.
Thank you, everyone, for listening again. Come see us next week.
Have a good one.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.